History fascinates me. Its stories come alive, its characters speak, and its monuments narrate a past of glory and grandeur. But many students find it difficult to wrap their heads around the topics of history. Hours and hours are spent on reading textbooks and study material without deriving any insights out of them. Therefore, in this video, I, Jawwad Kazi, will be sharing with you a framework to understand topics of history. It is a template that will enable deriving insights out of your preparation of history. It is something that I have distilled over years of preparing and teaching history for the civil services examination. Guys, this framework is what I call as the 9C framework. Let us try to see what is this 9C framework. The first C in these 9 C's is concepts. Guys, concepts are very important in understanding this subject of history. A lot of students feel that history is only a story of the past. Yes, it is no doubt a story of the past, but it is much more or much beyond that. Like any other academic discipline, history also has its fair share of concepts. Without understanding these concepts, you cannot really appreciate topics of history. So, for instance, without understanding mercantilism and its rise, feudalism and its fall, or the three estate based structure of the French society, you can never understand the significance of the French Revolution. So, whenever you prepare history, ensure that you first identify the core concepts related to that particular topic and prepare them thoroughly before you dive deeper. This is our first C, that is concepts. After this C, the next important C is context. Anything that takes place in history has a specific context. Certain political, economic, social, cultural, and other trends shape the happenings of the past. Without understanding these trends or developments, you cannot understand the outcomes that they shape. So, for instance, if you want to understand why the law-abiding subjects of 13 colonies of America transformed into revolutionary patriots, you have to understand the 7 Years' War and the subsequent shift of British policy towards these colonies. Any event will have to be understood by understanding its past first. So when you study a particular topic in history, your job is to first understand its past developments which have shaped it. And therefore, understanding context is very, very crucial. The next C that you must know while preparing history is characters. Characters, guys, are those historical personalities who have played a crucial role in that particular event. If history is a drama unfolding on the stage of time, then these characters are the ones who are discharging the important roles in that drama. Without understanding their motivations, without understanding their ideologies, without understanding their actions, we cannot understand how this drama is going to move ahead. Why was Abraham Lincoln so avowedly a slavery abolitionist? Or why was Mahatma Gandhi initially sympathetic towards the Allied cause in World War II? The answers to these questions are hidden in their personalities, the characters of these events. Therefore, it is very crucial to identify the key characters of the topic that you are preparing and understand them thoroughly first. This is our third C, that is characters. After characters, the next C that we have to understand is characteristics. What are characteristics? Guys, characteristics are the unique features of a particular historical event that mark out or differentiate it from the rest. Take for instance the three major Gandhian movements: non-cooperation, civil disobedience and Quit India movement. All fought under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, under the umbrella of Indian National Congress, but still each one of them has unique defining characteristics in terms of their agenda, in terms of their spread, in terms of their participation, and even in terms of the British response to these movements. They are all unique. Unless we understand these unique characteristics, we will not be doing justice to that particular topic. And therefore, it is very crucial to identify the key characteristics related to that particular topic which you are studying. After characteristics, the next important aspect that you have to understand is the chain of events. All historical topics will have a specific chain of events leading up to the larger outcome. To understand the larger outcome, we have to understand these chain of smaller events that lead up to it. Unless we know about these smaller events leading up to the ultimate outcome, we will not be able to fully grasp the larger outcome of that particular topic. Take for instance, the question regarding why Congress accepted partition. The answer to this question is not in the topic of partition per se. The answer lies in chain of events that have taken place before that. The intransigence of Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Muslim League on demand for Pakistan, Rajaji formula and subsequent failure of Gandhi Jinnah talks, the failure of Shimla conference, cabinet mission plan, direct action day, 3rd June plan, and ultimately partition. Unless and until you see this particular topic through these chain of events, you will not be able to understand its full import. And therefore, while studying history, you have to make it a point that you refer to the specific chain of events before that particular topic. After understanding the chain of events, the next major C is that of climax. What is meant by climax? Climax is the immediate outcome of that particular topic. Take for instance the revolt of 1857. At the end of the revolt, what was the immediate outcome? We can't leave a topic half completed without understanding the immediate climax of it. After the revolt of 1857, we know that the rule of East India Company finally came to an end. We know that the Queen issued her famous proclamation addressing Indians as her subjects. We know that the Government of India Act 1858 was passed that brought about major reforms in the relations of Britain with her colony India. So in this fashion, guys, while studying a particular subject, be very conscious about the specific outcomes that are, achieved at the end of that particular topic. And that is a 6th C, that is climax. After having understood climax, the next major C that we have to understand is consequence. Now you may wonder, how is climax different from consequence? Guys, consequence are the long-term implications of that particular historical event, whereas climax is the immediate outcome. As students of history, we have to understand both the immediate outcome as well as the long-term consequences. Take for instance the landmark land revenue policy of the Britishers, that is the permanent settlement done in Bengal and some other areas of India. Permanent settlement had tremendous immediate impact on the agrarian relations, but even more devastating impact was seen over the next several decades. In fact, several of the subsequent agrarian and rural problems of India could be linked to this one policy measure of permanent settlement. May it be rural indebtedness, may it be disguised unemployment or reverse migration that took place towards villages, absentee landlordism, all of these were outcomes of this one policy measure. So these are the long-term implications of that particular event of history. So while studying a particular subject, we have to be conscious about its long-term consequences also, which is our 7th C. After this, the next C that we are supposed to know is the contemporary aspect. Guys, when we study history, we have to be conscious about the interrelations of different historical events that are taking place across time and space. Take for instance, the continental system of Napoleon. While Napoleon was trying to isolate Britain in terms of its trade relations with Europe, it had implications over India also. The Charter Act of 1813 abolished the monopoly that was given to East India Company. Barring a few exceptions, that monopoly was abolished. Now, one major factor of that was the continental system that Napoleon was implementing in Europe. It forced the British government to end this privilege of East India Company. Similarly, it is not a coincidence, guys, that in 19th century, especially in its first half, there is a rise of liberalism in Britain, and consequently, we see a lot of reformist measures being passed before the revolt of 1857. So there are clear-cut interrelations between different historical developments taking place across space. So when you prepare history, you should not just be narrowly focused on that one topic, but you must also try to establish interconnections across different topics. And the examiner particularly loves it when you are able to establish such linkages, because it shows that you don't have a narrow focus and you can see the larger picture. This is the contemporary aspect. The next C, that is the 9th and last one, is comparison. UPSC very often asks comparative questions when it comes to history. UPSC has earlier asked to compare thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi with Subhash Chandra Bose. It asked you the comparison of different approaches of Gandhiji and Ambedkar towards the vulnerable sections of the society. It asked you to compare the Industrial Revolution of Japan with that of West. It asked you even to compare the life of people living in Industrial Revolution times of Britain and those of living today in India. So comparativeness is a very crucial aspect while writing answers of means. It really brings out whether you have understood the key concepts of history or no. Only a student who has thoroughly understood the intricacies of the subject will be able to answer a comparative question. So whenever you study history, ensure that you are studying it in a comparative manner where those areas which have some commonalities or which have some stark differences are compared to each other. So how is Nazism different from fascism? How is the Chinese Revolution different from the Russian Revolution? All of these areas must potentially be prepared thoroughly by aspirants. So these are, guys, my 9 C's that you must use while preparing topics of history. I hope, guys, that this particular discussion has enabled you to gain a better insight regarding preparing topics of history. And when next time you prepare history, when you read its textbooks or its study material, you will be able to derive a lot more benefit out of them. Guys, if you found this particular video helpful, then do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. And also, you can click on the icon on the screen to subscribe to the channel if you have not done that already. You can click on other links to watch videos which you may not have watched earlier. Thank you very much for watching and do share some love in the comment box. Take care. I will see you in my next video.